what's up, and welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be giving a review for the supernatural horror film The Black Phone. Now this is directed by Scott Derrickson, and it is based, or it is an adaptation of the 2004 short story of the same name by Joe Hill. Now this film is about this kidnapper, or you could say serial killer, who actually kidnaps like kids, and it's like mostly like boys. I don't want to spoil the film. And apparently these boys are missing, but there's one particular kid that he eventually ends up kidnapping, is able to communicate with the victims of this particular serial killer. And the serial killer is known as the Grabber, or that's what they actually call him in the film itself, and he's played by Ethan Hawke. Now the main star, I guess you could say, of the film, other than Ethan Hawke being like the serial killer or kidnapper, is the boy known as Finney. And he's played by Mason, I think, Thames, and he's like a young student who's eventually kidnapped by the Grabber too as well. But as the film does go on, actually when it does start, you get to see like the victims that the Grabber is kidnapping, and apparently some of these victims, well, these two of the victims were friends of Finney, and he knew about these particular kids, you know, and they were kidnapped. And then eventually he was kidnapped too as well. Now he also has a sister known as Gwen, and she's played by Madeline McGraw. I think that's how you pronounce it. Now it's something kind of interesting about her particular character, because she has like these where she experiences like these psychic type dreams, where she can kind of vision like get a vision of like what the killer is like, probably even like the victims of the killer. I don't want to go into it, I kind of ruin it. But she can kind of predict like the victims, how they look and all that kind of stuff, and if they were killed and all that. I don't want to say too much, you know, because it kind of ruined it. Then you also have like the detectives known as Detective Wright and Detective Miller. Like Detective Wright is played by E. Roger Mitchell, and Detective Miller is played by Troy Rudisill. I think that's how you pronounce it. There's also like another character in the story too as well, in the film too, but I believe if I touch on him, it'll kind of spoil it. But overall, I thought it was a pretty decent film. And it's kind of a period piece type film too as well, being in the set like in the late 70s. It's actually set like in the year 1978, if I can remember correctly. So it is kind of like a period piece film too as well, being in the set in the late 70s. But it does have like a creepy tone to it. It's like it's getting like a good look at how the victims are with the serial killer that they are calling the Grabber, because everybody already kind of knew about him, because they put up like the missing flyers from after the kids that he kidnapped, and everybody describes him as having like a black van, and he has like balloons that he be leaving at the scene, and that's how they always know that it is him. And he is like very psychotic and so on, because once he actually kidnaps Finney and locks him up in this like cell, like this basement type thing, that's when Finney begins to experience like these victims, like these supernatural. That's when it takes on like this supernatural edge, because at first the whole film is like serious, but once they get to that point where you can see like Finney being able to communicate with the ghosts, he has to pick up this phone that always rings, and these are like the victims of the serial killer, the ghosts of the victims that he had supposedly killed. They tell Finn what to do, how he should escape, and all that kind of stuff. So those moments right there were kind of cool, but I still feel like it just didn't really like take off, but it was still like kind of entertaining. And I thought some of the performances were kind of even like bad too. Now you also have Jeremy Davis, who plays Terrence Finney. Terrence, and he's actually like the abusive father of Finney and his sister Gwen, because he actually spanks Gwen at one point when she gets in trouble. He actually like spanks her, and apparently his mother, his wife, had killed herself, because they actually explain that as the story goes on. But overall, in the end, like I said, it just couldn't really like take off, but it was still like pretty entertaining. I really want to give this a B-, but I feel like certain things were still just kind of like off with it. Like it just didn't really take off like I wanted to. So I'm just gonna give a Black Phone a C, and I would definitely recommend it for like fans of like supernatural horror type films, because it is like worth watching. It is like kind of cool at times and kind of, you know, interesting. I like how we can get to say what was going on with the victims of the serial killer too as well. I thought that was interesting. So I'm giving this a C. Please leave a comment and subscribe too as well.